Happy September 27th, also known as the 5th prequel to Halloween 1st. Out of all the DC collab designs, Shadow cooked the hardest, and I'm saying that as a biased Knuckles fan club leader. In the recent Sonic Central, they finally revealed what this gorgeous Renaissance animation was made for. A full collaboration for comic books, figures, and more. And I'm hoping one of those mores is a skin in Sonic X Shadow Generations, or even one of the mobile games like Speed Battle or Rumble. That might be a bit too much to ask for considering the licensing, but In any case, the singular Shadow game on Steam got a skin for that no problem, because the Sonic Adventure community is just sick like that. Don't argue with me about Forces being a Shadow game, you'll be defending Forces. And that's my job. This mod was created by Milo Doe, based directly on the collaboration. They have quite the catalog of skins for every character, and chances are if you've modded this game, you've probably played their work. Hey Dread. Thanks to the Skin Selector mod by Sora, we can seamlessly switch skins at any time in the game without having to reboot. It even has a custom menu in the GUI, as if there were an official customization feature in a Sonic game. There's classic UI sounds like the base game, it uses the select button on the controller, and you can set icons for each skin you have loaded. That's a crazy length to go to. I like transforming him when he's obstructed for extra immersion. His icon on the menu and world map is a screen grab from the official animation. That's good utilization. I went over his design briefly in my Sonic Central video, but I love that Shadow stripes are smooth gray as opposed to his normal red. It makes him look a bit like Mephiles, but the change makes so much sense considering Batman's entire costume is either blue, gray, or black. It looks soft, and the gray blends into the black without making his quills look bizarre. The translation job is done masterfully here. The texture even has all the quill fur and subtle blues inside of it to make it look real. The blue in his stripe stands out the most in boss fights when he's front-facing, and it kind of reminds me of the blue highlights from some of the Batman cartoons. The shape of his silhouette with the cape and the bat fins looks so nice in these industrial settings. Him running along and dodging these bullets feels right out of a comic. It's so tasty that his inhibitors are a bright yellow, just like the chest plate from the Batman Forever days. It fits Batman's suit design by echoing his utility belt while looking very similar to Shadow's regular yellow rings. An underrated part of this design is definitely the tabs of his boots. Shadow's original design has these on the air shoes, but they're adapted on the Batman design to look more like combat armor. The seam on the inside looks more like a trapezoid than a square, which is a really small thing to point out, but it makes the sewing feel like it had a different purpose in mind. It's sick how they managed to put his cape on the model without it clipping too distractingly in the gameplay. It's even got all the sharp cut edges on the end to make it look edgy and tattered. It also bounces around in the wind when Shadow is skating. It's the perfect length and everything. Easily one of my favorite parts of the mod. It particularly helps that SA2 has a lot more moveset animations than current Sonic games, because when he does stuff like the rail grinding, homing tricks, flips, and somersaults, it looks like actual acrobatics Batman would pull off while tailing a criminal. It's funny how breathy Shadow's voice is in some games. He definitely sounds like he's pulling off a Batman voice in certain idle lines. He's certainly not as deep as Man himself, but you can make a case for it when he says things like,
"I feel danger all around me."
This dude is at the peak of Radical Highway, keeping tabs on all the possible crimes. You can't convince me Shadow doesn't do this sometimes when he's bored. Even if he's not fighting crime, he's been known to sit on random ledges and ponder stuff. He'd totally do this like the freak he is. Even the wind sounds from all this way up reaffirms how cold and uncaring the night is. Why is the atmosphere so perfect in this game? Some of his idle stances, like the one where he crouches, is straight up something Batman would do like a little freak of the shadows. He's analyzing his surroundings and he could disappear in an instant if spotted. I imagine he also gets in this position because he hides in a lot of unorthodox spots like some kind of freakish bug. Minor IDW spoilers coming up, click here if you want to avoid them. Considering Shadow started tailing Clutch with a lead on an Eggman weapons manufacturer, but stayed to defeat him due to his outrage from mistreated Chow, I think it's totally safe to say there isn't a crime too small for Shadow the Hedgehog. He wants to preserve the image of the world Maria showed him. Not for her, but for him. For his own sanity. I'm not an expert on Batman lore, but I'd say that could apply. Speaking of chow, let's go say hi to our Robin. Get it? The Casino Garden is a similar aesthetic to a circus, just like where the Flying Graysons are from. Bat Shadow gladly took this lost egg under his wing. I'm not rephrasing that because that was actually good. For the base of this chow, we're using the Silver mod, and it's funny just how similar Silver's shoes are to Robin's shoes. It's got black on the base and blue on the tip. It's even got a similar boot shape. We're also using the Forces Customization mod to give him the closest thing possible to Robin's face mask. He's also got phoenix wings on the back that very easily passes Robin's yellow cape. Shout out to my roommate for the chow design and the footage, by the way. Who's to say Batman wouldn't have his own dark garden in the Batcave? Look how badass this dude is. He'd totally do this while tailing someone like the Jongleur? All it takes is one bad day and you'd be just like me. Remember how Scourge and the Joker literally share this line? I do love how Scourge also happens to wear green and has a screwed up razor-sharp grin. Wanna know how I got these scars, Stripes? He's literally got scars, just like the Joker. Just picked up my whip. It's parked across the street. We're gonna go get some food. And it just happens to be a skin over Sonic, Shadow's rival. It's too perfect.
Oh my god, his Orange Cassidy, somebody do something!
Let's bounce, baby boy. We've got some crime to fighting. Thanks to the Chow Partner mod, you can have the dynamic duo race through every single level in the game. This is easily a permanent mod, regardless of how you play SA2. The Spooky City Escape mod is incredible theming, not just for pre-October, but also for the night aesthetic in general. The bright lime and purple colors fits the Joinkler's perspective pretty well, I'd say. It's a saturated world with something slightly off. The graffiti on the walls and the balloons in the sky are such a cozy touch to it all. It feels like real locations that people were decorating. But it has to be said, the government can't contain Jonsler so easy. We need to bring in the Bat. His little skid slide after winning boss fights looks so good with his cape. The eyeshadow on him has been repainted to black too, which reminds me of some depictions of Batman where he does paint black around his eyes so no one can see the skin in his mask. All I really want from Sonic games is for them to continue celebrating their current events in the games themselves. I want more skins like this in Shadow Generations and Sonic Frontiers. I want them to bring back the seasonal events in the adventure games. I want them to bring back the billboard advertisements of real-world stuff. It just makes the game feel alive, and it serves as a cool time capsule once the game is unsupported. I also gotta say, I adore the adventure modding community, because I feel like it would be a challenge to reverse engineer spaghetti code from one of the first ambitious 3D platformers to exist. I also love their dedication towards making the textures and proportions of their skin mods look like they were developed in the 2000s. It's like low poly, it fits the shapes of the characters, the textures aren't 4K Ultra HD. I'd also love to give a shout out to the brand new Adventure Mod Loader by Sora. It works identically to Hedge Mod Manager, and it doesn't have any of the bad quirks of the old Adventure Mod Loaders. It's such a nice luxury. It's incredibly easy to play these mods now. On the old loaders, I actually had an issue where I couldn't one-click install at all, but with this, it just works as intended. Every mod here today is down below, and if you're new here, check out the modding playlist, as that's what I like to do in between major game releases.